Hi, I'm Joshua Finn from J&H Aerospace, and this is our build video for the new Aleda Catapult glider. The Catapult launched with a standard AMA catapult. There we go, like so. So, let's get started. When you open your kit, you need to go through and inventory everything to make sure that you have the full contents. If not, please contact me. So the first thing is you should have your laser cut wing blanks. Next is you should have your tail surfaces, your plywood fittings, so that's your finger grip and the catapult hook, your fuselage, piece of clay for balancing, handle for your catapult, and of course the rubber strand, sorry for that. Also included, there will be a parts sheet in here, but most importantly, this is your plans for cutting your parts and 3 view of the airplane, so you can replicate the aircraft if you choose to make your own from scratch. So a few tools that I have here just to get started. I have CA accelerator, medium thickness CA, razor plane. You don't necessarily have to have this, but you can get a better airfoil more quickly with it. Scissors, maybe. Well, a razor blade. A couple of different grades of sandpaper, ruler, and a J&H Aerospace glider balancer. And no, they do not come curled like this when you order from us. This one was a test piece, and it's great for using for video props. Also great for telling you that your heating bed for your 3D printer should actually be at the proper temperature. Alright, so we're going to start by cutting out your wing. So we put little tabs in here, and really you should predominantly only have to cut through these tabs. Occasionally the laser does not go all the way through, so expect the possibility you might have to guide around a little bit. But in this case, I think I'm missing one. Got one place where we left just a tiny little bit of material right here. And a little bit of material over here. And save that, we'll use it for some scrap later. So now you've got your 2 wing panels, and we'll go ahead and we will separate those. And flip one over, so wings are going to go together like so. We're going to go ahead and put a very basic airfoil in this wing. You can do this with sandpaper, however I'm going to speed things along by using a Stanley razor plane. These are available from several different brands. You can sharpen the blades. I highly recommend them. No, I do not own any association with them. I just happen to think this is the best product for the job. You do not have to have a fancy airfoil on this airplane to fly it well. However, if you go to discusglider.com, you can find there the information on Stan Buddenbaum's airfoils, and his airfoils will really make this airplane come alive. Alright, so that gives us a little bit of taper on the back half, and for the front, cut through the wax paper. There we go. We'll put a little bit of taper on the front here. You can, if you like, a little bit of upsweep from a single pass down the leading edge. That just enhances your... So we have finished rough cutting both of our wings. And now we'll take a sanding block and we're going to sand the flat rear section of our airfoil. We just want to use some smooth, steady strokes, get everything nice and flat. You don't need any curvature on the aft section of the airfoil, just a flat. Now, if you notice with this one, I just rounded off like the back 1/4 of an inch of the wing, and it flies fine that way. But this way I'm gonna show you is the best, and you can use your judgment based on how much time you have, how far you want to go. The airplane will fly very well, really with no airfoil. But the purpose here is to show you the way to get the absolute maximum out of it. I leave the trailing edge about 1/32 of an inch thick at the back. Don't suggest going any thinner than that, because then it'll tend to go wavy and it's more fragile. So now we're going to work our way around. We're going to do the same thing with the wing leading edge. Let's sand it down. Now, we don't want to leave a blunt edge at the front. At the back, it's not, there's just nothing to be gained from getting a perfect rounded edge. However, on the front, that does have much more of an effect. And again, while it does have an effect, yes, you could finish the front of the wing exactly the same way, and this aircraft would fly very nicely. Now that we have finished airfoiling both of our wings, let's see, got a little rough spot there. There we go. Now we're going to go ahead and we'll quickly give a quick finish to the underside of this wing. Should mention I'm using 300 grit sandpaper. You can actually go a little bit farther than that, say out of 600 grit. Anything more than that's really kind of overkill for this this particular aircraft, because we're not trying to build for indoor records or anything of that nature. Okay, next thing that you want to do is you want to sand your bevel into your wings. Just to review, the plans show our 1 3/8 inch dihedral. So we're sanding for that. So you don't have to get it to the exact angle. You end up about like this. You can actually, if you're really concerned about getting it right over and over repeatedly, propblocks.com currently has sanding gauges for the dihedral brakes on these aircraft. The important thing is you want to hold the wings straight so that you can get this bevel in. And you want to cover the entire wing root. So when I'm finished sanding this bevel, I should not see any of the laser mark there. Should have. Next, we're going to take a scrap of wood. I should mention, if you have one of our later kits, there's going to be a little corner piece over here, and you'll be able to use that to slide under here, and it'll set your dihedral angle for you. However, what we're going to do is the plans show 1 3/8 inch dihedral, and we're just going to do that all at once. So we're going to take a scrap of wood from our cutout, and we're going to cut it to 2 3/4 inches. Okay, what we're going to do, instead of putting two 1 3/8 inch pieces of wood, one under each wingtip, we're just going to put one that's twice that long, so 2 3/4 right here. We'll go ahead and do a quick test fit. And this is how you're going to arrange things. Now, if you're using a slower glue, you can just set up this joint with that glue. You can walk away for a few hours while it hardens. We, however, are going to use medium CA. So we're going to carefully line everything up. And we'll set the wing there. Now, because we're in a hurry for a video, this is one thing you can do if time is of the essence, is we can dip CA accelerator onto the entire glue line, and now the dihedral brake is set. So I can take that support away. Since we've done this on wax paper, we're not glued down to anything. We'll check everything looks good. And just to sure things up, we will add a little bit of glue down there, just because this is a kind of a high stress joint. Any aircraft that's got single brake dihedral, so a 2-panel wing, has very significant stress placed on that center brake. Now, once that's done, one thing you can do, just to simplify the finishing process, is you can sand a little bit of a flat down here. This just gives you a little bit better of a fit and finish to your fuselage on that joint. Now the next thing we're going to go ahead and do, before we start attaching everything all together, is we will go ahead and cut out our tail surfaces here. And once those are cut out, sand off from any of the little tabs just to get a nice finish. You can sand these to a nice rounded edge. The airfoil on your tail surfaces is much less significant than the airfoil on your wings, so we're not spending a significant amount of time on these. And I personally just recommend a symmetrical type of an airfoil on your stabilizer. Do not recommend a cambered section or anything. Basically, whatever you do on the top, you do on the bottom. Now that we have finished sanding our tail surfaces, we'll go ahead and set those aside for a minute. And we will cut out the fuselage. And since this is made from much harder wood, do expect you may need to do a little bit of trimming to get this free. And we'll go ahead and we will sand any flashing off of it. Very important, however, do not round the edges of your fuselage. You are not gaining anything structurally or aerodynamically by doing that, but you are taking away structural strength. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay my fuselage down here. I'm going to very carefully, I'm just going to score right where the plans show the trailing edge. If you get one of the newer kits, in the future we're actually going to have a little notch here in the fuselage, so that you'll be able to just lay the wings straight down on it. Now, what we're going to do next is we're going to install our horizontal tail, and so we will do this by putting CA down here on the center section of our tail, And you notice we have these little notches at the front and the back, and those are for alignment. So very important, the curved part of the fuselage goes on the top, stabilizer goes on the bottom. This way we are set up, and again we align our notches up along the center line of the fuselage, and stabilizer is in place. Again, our tapered section is on the top. That way our horizontal stabilizer is parallel to the bottom of the wing. Because we have sanded in a little bit of upsweep, that means that technically the line from here, from the front of the wing to the back, is actually angled up ever so slightly. So we actually have some positive incidence built into the aircraft. Now we will add our glue to the side of the rudder and along the bottom. Glue it in place, and you can ensure proper alignment using your carrier sheet from this piece of wood. And we'll just hold it there until it's dry. What we will do is we'll go ahead and put a bead of glue along our dihedral brake. Go ahead and weigh this down. And if you remember, we left that little mark. We're going to put that at the trailing edge of the wing. And then we'll balance the wing in place. And you can measure the proper height and whatnot. What I would recommend though is just that, assuming you're right-handed again, have this wing slightly lower than this wing, so that'll give you your stab tilt. So that'll have this side of the stabilizer closer to this wing tip in the vertical plane. And that'll give you a little bit of left turn help. At this point, things should be hardened up pretty well. And we're going to come back. We're going to put an additional bead of glue down each side. And we'll go ahead and get all of this cured quickly so that CA doesn't spill everywhere. Okay. Coming in on the home stretch. We're going to break our catapult hook out of its carrier sheet and give this a little bit of a sanding. And then it does not matter which side you place the catapult hook on. I do recommend that the hook and the grip be on the same side. However, again, not really a big deal. As you can see, we place the top of the catapult hook about the center line of the fuselage. Alignment's not real critical on this, just make sure it lays down flat against the side of the fuselage. Then we'll take our finger grip and we're going to do the exact same thing with it. And it kind of sweeps back a little bit towards the back. So we'll put a dab of glue on here. And there we go. Next we're going to go ahead and we're going to mark the airplane for balancing. So you have your CG marking on the plans. And so you will center your wing over where you've got the wing. The wing shown on the side view. We're just going to put a little mark vertically on the fuselage, like so. So we're centering it over the center of gravity marking. We're just going to draw a line up here. Next, we'll go ahead and open up our clay. We know we're going to need some amount of clay on this aircraft because when we set the wing plane at the back of the glider balancer, it's already hanging nose up. So what I'm going to do is, so that the clay will adhere, I'm going to put a little bit of CA here. I'm going to bring it over the top, so I'll push that bead of clay over the top a little bit. And now here again, I'm going to set the glider up here. And nice and sensitive, which is what we want. All right. I can't see where that leaves me. All right, we need a little bit more clay. Now, this does not establish your final CG for this aircraft. You are actually going to tune the aircraft to you. This is where I found the aircraft worked best for me. Okay, so once you've got your CG set, you will go through our trimming video. You'll add tabs as needed to the trailing edge of the wing. You'll probably need a little wash-in wedge tab of some sort here on the left wing. Again, assuming you're right-handed, and then you will add remove clay as needed to get the glide fine-tuned. All right, so now we're ready for our last step. This is very, very simple. We're going to tie a knot in our rubber strand. I like to double it up, and we'll cut the tails off. This is a 36-inch strand of 1/8 inch rubber. So when you double it up like so, you'll get a 9-inch pair of loops. We're going to take this, and we're going to turn it through so that it latches onto our catapult handle. So now we're ready to go. Just to review so that you see, what I'm doing is I'm sticking my fingers through here, bringing them up around so that I get this slip knot. And now I'm going to slide it onto the hook, the handle, and we're ready to go. So at this point, you're ready to go off and do your testing with your new Aleda. Congratulations on finishing your build. If you have any questions, please put them in the comments section below. Have a nice day.